So even though I did my little bad impression of Alex Jones, I'm not actually going to be taking the first segment here. And we're going to go ahead and throw it to Helen.
Yeah, so I am sorry, but I am so happy about um, this judgment coming down. I know there's some complications with it, and but just for this man get a little bit comeuppance when I was like feeling a little bit, disenchanted with the justice system is very encouraging. And like, it's very funny because I heard about Alex Jones like years ago, like back in 2011, and he wasn't as crazy. I mean, like, he was still doing like conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but it was more of like a novelty, and then lo and behold, he went down the crazy train. So, and what I really liked about this particular article, it did focus on not only um, about him having to pay those restitutions to those families, but it also pointed out how how the lies has spread and all those sort of things. And I thought that was really important. Now, whether Alex pays this money will be remain to be seen, as he did file for bankruptcy, though his finances are being investigated, and lo and behold, he has been lying about his assets and the actual worth of InfoWars and his other companies. And this is going to go into appeal, but still, if it goes into appeal, he's still going to be paying thousands of dollars in legal fees, lawyers, and all those sort of things. And I do think that the families that have been victims of these lies and conspiracies that he promoted on his platform, and a really horrible thing that he promoted, that these deaths of these children were fake and everything like that. Even if these families don't see this money, I'm really hoping they get some kind of closure and peace. So because that's what they really need, because I don't think no amount of money will ever replace the loss of a child, but I'm really hoping some kind of justice and some kind of closure comes to those families. And also too, as far as the legal troubles with his family, because there was another article as well about what's going on with his family, because his wife did take him to court, and his children, he's kind of brainwashed his kids into believing in bullshit conspiracies and poisoning their minds and teaching them not to be critical thinkers, and created this like little cult with his own kids, and I can't imagine living with a diagnosed narcissist. What a bunch of toxic bullshit that is kind of getting put upon you. And this is not proven. I'm just throwing out a theory. He hasn't been diagnosed, but he seems I've heard him on interviews and seen him on various podcasts. Tends to have a little bit of a drinking problem. That with a narcissistic behavior, and his brain going into wild ideas, I can't imagine that's really good for the kids. And I'm glad that his wife has gained custody. I don't think it's going to be an easy road, especially since like her name has been smeared, and his followers don't really care what the truth is. They just follow him. So I'm very interested where this is going to go down the line. I think definitely. So let's see, how do you guys feel about this? Rich, why don't you go first? Tell me your feelings on Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, what a curiosity. Yeah, no, definite narcissist. How much of what he says he believes, I don't know. I do think that money, or at least a fair chunk of it, will end up with the families for a few reasons. Firstly, he can't help himself. He will appeal and not turn up, and he will lose again. Second, lawyers love being paid. They really like being paid, and they especially like it when they get a percentage of a huge amount of money. That's and they're very good at chasing up that money because they like being paid, and also because the punitive damage is yet to come. So He may owe a lot more by the end of all this. So a fraction of. Oh, and that little thing about his bankruptcy being in a lot of trouble because he's lied, and Forehand may have been doing 2 sets of books and all sorts of other dodgy things. So his bankruptcy might not be the way out he thinks it is. What may happen is he may lose, well, everything. The thing about selling his business not being his and then finding out it's his parents, that's wonderful. All this kind of stuff makes me full of joy that just occasionally people like this scumbag will get brought down a peg or two by the legal system. Long may it continue.
Little comeuppance. Yeah, that sounds like it would be great. August, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I think this is very, very sweet poetic justice if he actually does end up having to pay the money. And I know, Helen, you mentioned that even if the families don't get the money, at least there's some sort of closure. Yeah, I think that's true, but also those families should get the money. But here's the thing, no amount of money in this entire world could replace your child. And not only replace your child, but there's no way you can take back the lies that have been spread and claiming that these grieving parents going through the worst time of their entire life are being called crisis actors by this guy who's never had to go through anything like that. And it's already bad enough that their grief has been on display since this tragedy occurred. But then to say that they're faking it and that it's for publicity. So I really fucking hope the families get the money, and they should. And I also saw something about the jurors were saying they wanted the family's attorney fees to be paid as well. And I'm sitting here like, isn't that a given? Like, fucking yeah, they should be. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I can't even believe that was a thing that had to be recommended. But yeah, I just think it's poetic justice. But the fact that he's calling this, I believe his direct quote was, he's facing Goliath. Shut the fuck up. You're not facing Goliath. You lied, and you've been lying for years, and your platform is built off of lies, and you're getting called out on it. And I'm not sorry for you. I have zero empathy for you. I'm so sorry. I like being an empathetic person. I think there's nuance in everything. There's no nuance here. You lied about grieving families. You lied about dead children. It doesn't get lower than that.
Yeah, and as far as that's concerned, I mean, the lies and what he said live on his show is bad enough. What really kind of made this worse was the true believers, the ones who then followed through on the things that he said. There were people who would then harass the families. There were people who were giving them death threats while they're already trying to bury their children. So it's not just, oh, this guy said some mean things and now they're going to get millions and millions of dollars. It's not that. It is so much more than that. And this is not the first time that Alex Jones has been in trouble. And even in this case, this isn't the first settlement that has come out of it. There's actually the first settlement that came out of Austin, Texas, where Alex Jones works out of. Wow, where's Austin, Texas? Wow. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. But that was a $49 million judgment. Here's the thing on that. It's possible that the Texas judgment will actually come down due to some caps built into the law. But thankfully, in Connecticut, how this was tried and the rules of law that they have there are no caps. So that over 900 million is going to stand. If he wants to appeal it, he's going to have to put about 10% down, which he may have. He may have that. But as Helen and Rich alluded to earlier, is he even going to bother to show up? Because he couldn't show up for discovery. He couldn't show up to really defend himself. He only showed up at the very end where it's like, yeah, by the way, you already lost by default, and we're here to divvy up things. So, Helen, what else do you have to add?
Well, I kind of wanted to piggyback off of what August was saying, because it's not so much that, as we've been talking about, that he was spreading lies. The people that bought that lie harassed these families. There was one family that had to move 6 times because these people were stalking their house, demanding that bodies be exhumed to prove that their children had been killed. Like, you're already dealing with the trauma of losing, and as a parent, I can't imagine what that horror is to go through. And then on top of that, you have crazy people showing up at your house demanding that you prove that your children are dead, to prove that they were part of the school shooting, because this asshole on the internet was spreading lies, spreading conspiracies, and making up bullshit that the left is gonna take your guns away and all that crap. And that's the thing that's so disheartening and disconcerting. And he's passing this on to his children. And it just blows my mind that anyone would, even as, and he's a parent, and do that to other parents. It's very sick.
Poison his kids' minds when he only has visitation rights, because, oh yeah, he lost that case as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
August, what else do you got?
I'm just trying to kind of keep my cool here. I usually try to keep a smile, but this is something I can't smile at all. The only thing I think is remotely funny is that as a Gen Zer, as a Zoomer, as they call us, the first time I heard of Alex Jones, I heard him from the chemicals in the water are turning the frickin' frogs gay. And I thought that was hilarious. But now seeing the rest of the bullshit that's under this, it's not funny anymore. And this kind of shit is ruining people's lives. And I think it is not lost on me that this is the same type of people that are like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sure all of you are getting triggered by me even mentioning her fucked up name. But she herself harassed a Parkland shooting victim because he dared to speak out. So clearly, this is a political agenda. And they always say that the leftists are the one pushing their agendas. And we're just like, hey, maybe you shouldn't gun down kids. And then afterwards, maybe you shouldn't claim that the parents are lying. I'm sure if I asked the audience out here, any of you that are parents, what's your biggest fear relating to your child? Huh? Is it losing your kid? Is it your child, your 5-year-old, your 6-year-old getting murdered in cold blood? And imagine you're standing outside of the school and there's people having to go to hospitals to identify the body of their dead child because it is so fucked up that it's unrecognizable at this point. And then you have cameras in your face, and that's bad enough. And now you have idiots, fucking morons on the internet saying that it's a lie, it's faked. Can you imagine if you're a parent, if you have a child, or if you even have an ounce of empathy for human beings, you should know that this is fucking deplorable and that $1 billion could never make up for the loss and the terror that these families have experienced. And honestly, I need to throw it over to Rich or else I'm going to lose it.
Yeah, well said. There's another conversation here. The fact that he can have these followers who believe him, who will go and do this harassing, who will uncritically listen to what he's got to say, who are so terrified that their guns are going to be taken away at a time when, if anything, I mean, I'm a foreigner, but if anything should suggest maybe you'd put some laws about the big ones out there, then maybe it should be kids getting shot up every other week. Just a thought. We don't have school shooting drills here or any metal detectors or anything like that. Worst thing that happens at our school is one of the supply teachers runs out crying because the kids have made her cry. But it's weird. And how do we get to people who fall for this stuff, because that's part of the problem as well. It's the fool and the fool who follows him, if you like. It's a conundrum.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you there. The fact that we're doing school shooter drills, I never had to suffer that, even though I was in high school when Columbine happened. I was nowhere near Columbine. I was, but even after that happened, immediately after that happened, the idea of doing, school shooter drills was just not something that we even thought about. And to piggyback off of what August said, about the conspiracy theories, it's like, yeah, they can be fun. The gay frogs, that's funny, that's silly, it's great. The sex ring in the pizza shop was all fun and games until somebody decided that they were going to confront that pizza shop, demand to see the basement, which didn't even exist, and put a few rounds in. And I just wanted to give a little bit of a fun fact about Alex Jones, who is friend of the show, kind of. As I said, that Alex Jones runs out of Austin, Texas. He actually got his start at a public access TV station, the exact same TV station that the Atheist Experience came out of. His show premiered right before AXP, which caused AXP to have the now famous 4:30 time slot that it now has. So, and there actually, if you go back into the back catalog, there are episodes where Alex Jones has called into the show. But I do kind of want to, I'm going to let August have the final word in this particular segment.
Man, I'm really trying to not be known as the young, fiery, angry atheist, but I feel like that's the title I am getting.
What?
And you know what? I only get angry about the topics that are really fucked up, and I think that this definitely applies. I think that the fact that his show was called InfoWars, which obviously implies information wars, and I think that name is quite curious. What information is at war here? Seems like it's the truth versus bullshit. And you're on the side of bullshit. So, just so we clear that up, it's a war against the truth is what you're really promoting here. It's a war against the truth. I do want to point out as well that in June of 2018, 6 more families that were involved in the Sandy Hook shooting sued him. And later, one of the fathers of one of the murdered children ended up committing suicide. And you know what they did? They said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." And by they, I mean InfoWars, his attorneys, etc. They said, "Oh, we're so sorry about your loss. Maybe it was a murder." Are you fucking kidding me? Are you for real?
Lies have consequences, real world consequences.
And they fucking better.
Yeah.
And I am grateful.
Again, going back onto.
Sorry, Jason.
Going back onto again what August said. Crime fighters fight crime. Firefighters fight freedom. What do info fighters, info wars fight? What do they actually fight?
The truth. They fight the truth.
They fight the truth. Helen, one more, and then I think we do need to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, one thing I am grateful for this, the precedent that this is setting, that if you spread bullshit, there can be some huge consequences for you. I mean, this led to direct harm of these families, but I'm hoping somebody is going to take some pause before they start spreading things that would hurt other people. And that was the last piece I wanted to say.
Well said. Well said.